God's chosen ones, 7 reasons why God took away your sex drive. The night is almost over. The clock ticks slowly. 11:59 p.m. A chill wind slips through the cracks of the window. The candle flickers. Its faint light dances across the still wall. Somewhere in the distance, a bell tolls long and low like a sacred summons. You sit there alone, eyes open in the dark, wondering why your heart feels so quiet. No more craving, no more rush, just a hollow space, and a whisper rising softly from within. Chosen one, do you hear it? The silence in your body is not a loss. It's a calling from heaven. That voice doesn't come from outside. It comes from deep within, like your soul itself is speaking. Everything around you pauses, your breath, your heartbeat, the light itself. And in that stillness, something begins to open gently, but with a power that shakes you. Stop and listen. 7 reasons are about to unfold, and they will change everything you ever thought about yourself. The candle flares brighter. A golden glow spreads through the room, and in that light, words seem to appear carved not in wax, but inside your heart. 7 reasons why God took away your desire. You don't know how you got here, but somewhere deep inside, you know this isn't random. Tonight, heaven is calling your name, and the answer is beginning. The room is dim. Only one candle trembles by the window, its light swaying like your breath, slow, heavy, deep. The bell still echoes faintly, keeping time with your heartbeat. You can't remember when it started, only that lately everything has gone still. The things that once made your heart race, a look, a touch, a word. The thrill of being wanted now feel like echoes fading into silence. And then the question begins to whisper inside you. What's wrong with me? Am I broken? That question lingers, scratching at your mind. But just when you start to conclude, maybe something's wrong, something happens, a sign, a dream that repeats 3 nights in a row, a verse that appears on your screen, or maybe a late-night video that seems to find you instead of you finding it. And deep down, you know this is not coincidence. Then a voice, warm, low, and filled with authority, speaks through the quiet. You are not broken, chosen one. You are being sanctified. This is not the silence of death. It's the silence of construction. God is rebuilding his temple within you. Your body, once filled with the noise of desire, of worry, of comparison, is being cleansed brick by brick, layer by layer. He's tuning the strings of your soul so that your sound matches heaven's frequency. He's lowering the volume of your flesh so he can raise the vibration of your spirit. And the stillness you fear is actually his hand upon you. Maybe you're sitting in the same familiar room, but tonight it feels different. The air feels thicker, sacred somehow. A presence fills the space, unseen yet undeniable. You shiver not from fear, but from the awareness of something holy. A soft breath brushes across your chest. A warmth stirs in your heart, trembling alive like a current moving up your spine. I am here, the whisper comes again, and I am renewing you. Your heartbeat syncs with the faraway bell, as if time itself pauses, leaving only 2 beings in the universe, you and the one reshaping you from within. Tonight is not the end. It's the threshold between what was and what is being born, between the person ruled by desire and the soul being freed into holiness. You are being set apart not to lose something, but to be prepared for something greater. So do not fear this silence, for in this silence God is speaking louder than ever before. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. And when you lift your head, the candle still burns, but the light is different now, brighter, purer, as if it's no longer coming from the wax, but from within you. You understand now. No, you are not broken. You are being sanctified. Part 1. Shifting the focus to your calling. The night has reached its second watch. The city still moves outside, but inside this small room, Everything has stopped. The sound of traffic fades, softer, and then disappears completely. Only the steady ticking of the clock remains tick-tock, tick-tock, like the quiet breath of time itself. You sit still. No scrolling, no music, no blinking notifications. Everything has fallen into a perfect silence. And in that silence, you begin to hear something new, your real voice. Strange, isn't it? Once silence used to scare you. You were used to being filled with messages, with work, with conversations, with the feeling of being seen, touched, desired. But now, no matter how hard you try, you can't feel the same. Desire has gone quiet, like a river suddenly dammed by an unseen hand. You try to wake the feelings again the old way. A familiar song, a few pictures that once made your heart race, a message to someone who once made you feel alive. But nothing comes, only emptiness. Part of you panics. Another part feels a strange peace. Then the voice comes, low, gentle, yet strong enough to make the air stand still. Do not fear. This is not loss. This is my spiritual surgery. In your mind, you see yourself lying on a table of light. No doctor, no machines, only pure white radiance surrounding you. The light doesn't cut to cause pain. It passes through flesh, through cells, through thoughts. And in that sacred stillness, you understand God is operating on your soul. He is not removing what's good. He is removing the noise, the interference that has drowned out His call. For those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. Romans 8:14. That verse beats in your chest like a new heartbeat. For the first time, you feel what it means to be led. No longer driven by instinct, desire, or fear of being forgotten. Something higher is awakening, a level of awareness where you no longer react, you listen. The world says losing desire means you're numb, broken, or depressed. But in the spiritual realm, it can mean refinement. Because desire isn't gone, it's been relocated. The energy that once flowed downward toward pleasure is now flowing upward toward purpose. It's like a river being redirected. At first it churns and resists, tearing through soil. But soon it settles and begins to water new ground, soil that has never been touched before. And that new ground is your calling. You were not born merely to feel, you were born to reflect. Not just to be loved, but to become an instrument of love. Not just to be touched, but to carry heaven's touch to others. But to do that, you need something flesh can't give: holy focus. When desire quiets, the mind sharpens. Like a soldier pulled from the noise to train his ear for the trumpet's call, you are being separated so you can hear the signal meant for you alone. In a world addicted to noise, silence feels like poverty. But in the kingdom, silence is life. God doesn't shout, He whispers, and only those who leave the noise behind can hear Him. Perhaps that's why He's quieted the desires in you. Not to hurt you, but to help you hear better. He's muting the voice of the flesh to tune the frequency of your spirit. You start to notice the signs you once ignored. You're no longer drawn to the things that used to fascinate you. Small talk feels exhausting. You find peace in early light, in the sound of wind. You sense truth and deception more clearly than ever. This isn't you changing. This is God raising your frequency. You're being set apart not for isolation, but for refinement. Those who cleanse themselves will be instruments for noble purposes, made holy, useful to the Master, and prepared for every good work. 2 Timothy 2:21. That cleansing isn't punishment, it's preparation. Like a craftsman polishing a gem, God is carving away the roughness so His light can shine through you. Sometimes He removes what you thought was your best part, your desire, your emotions, your connections, so you can learn the meaning of pure creation. You're not being diminished, you're being sharpened. He's not extinguishing your fire, he's redirecting it. A vision flashes in your mind, a glowing sword being pulled from the furnace. That sword is you. The fire doesn't weaken it, it hardens it, brightens it, refines it. And the blacksmith god himself knows when to strike, when to cool, when to strike again. Every hammer blow, every spark is shaping your true essence. You remember a recent morning. You woke up unusually calm. You didn't reach for your phone. You didn't need a good morning from anyone. Just one deep, slow breath and peace. In that breath, you felt closer to God than ever before. No church, no music, just stillness. That's where calling is planted, not in applause, but in the quiet exhale of the spirit. When the soul rises above the body, everything begins to change. At first, the change feels disorienting, as if you've lost yourself. But in truth, you're returning to yourself, the version untouched by fear or flesh. You are awakening, and awakening often looks like losing everything. But remember, only when the room is cleared can you hear the one knocking. God doesn't want a divided servant. He wants a pure vessel, one through which heaven's flow can pass untainted. That's why he's pulling you away from what once held you down. He's clearing the control panel inside you to install a higher frequency. Desire hasn't died, it's ascended. Longing hasn't vanished, it's been repurposed. You haven't lost energy, you've reclaimed power. And in the stillness, you finally hear what the world made you forget. You were not born to chase pleasure. You were born to carry light. The words don't pass through your ears, they echo through your heart. A warm current rises up your spine. No more fear, no more confusion, only a deep knowing everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You open your eyes, the room is still dim, the candle still burns, but everything looks clearer. Every glint, every dust mote suspended in light. Nothing outside has changed, but you have. You no longer chase what was. You're beginning to welcome what is, because now you understand losing desire isn't losing your humanity. It's making room for the divine within you to breathe. And from deep within the voice returns soft as a sigh. Chosen one, I did not take to leave you empty. I took away to clear the path for something higher. Be still, for I am about to speak great things. You close your eyes. For the first time, you need nothing more. No touch, no proof, no explanation. Just stillness in the light. And in that moment, you know the spiritual surgery has begun, and your calling is awakening within you. You are not being weakened. You are being refined. You are not losing your fire. You are learning to master it. Silence fills the room, but within that silence, everything becomes clear. You smile softly, not because you understand it all, but because you finally trust what's happening. The night continues, but within you, a new day has begun. Part 2. Learn to look up, guarding the eternal gaze. The room grows brighter. After a long, silent night, morning light rests at the corner of your eye, a thin beam, soft as a whisper. Everything is still, yet within the stillness, something new begins to move. No more overwhelm from the noise. No more invitations from old desires. Only a different frequency remains low, deep, and full of authority. You sit up, hands still over your chest, feeling the steady rhythm of your heart. A familiar voice rises gently again. Now learn to look up. In your mind's eye, you see yourself standing on a watchtower. Below is the world, loud flashing, spinning. Laughter, music, sales calls, advertisements, waves crashing in. You look down and recognize it, the place where you once lived, chased, and lost your way. But up here, the air is cool, the space is open, and every sound feels filtered clean. Here you can hear more clearly not the voice of people, but the voice of God. When I close a door in the spirit, he says the flesh has no key to open it again. Those words send a shiver through you. You remember trying to wake up the old feelings, reaching for memories, calling someone back. playing a familiar song, touching images that once stirred your heart. But everything was dull, unresponsive. Now you understand. It's not that you've lost the capacity to feel the old door has been shut, not because you were rejected, but because you've been invited higher. Morning light slips in and rests upon your face. In that light, you sense a spiritual law at work more clearly than ever. What we look at long enough, we become. The world knows this, so it fights for your gaze, every second with images, ads, stories, bodies, invitations, music, sensations. It knows if it can capture your gaze, it can capture your soul. But now you've been brought up to the watchtower to learn a rare art, the art of keeping an eternal gaze. You inhale slowly and close your eyes. No longer hunting for images outside, you begin to look within. There, in the dim of consciousness, a small point of light appears like an ember in the desert. This is the meeting place between you and the Spirit. You hear a whisper. Guard your eyes as you would guard a city gate. Guard your ears as you would keep the doors for a king. Guard your heart, for from it flow the springs of life. You see yourself before three gates: the eye, the ear, and the heart. They are the three entryways of the soul. The eye gate, where images enter and shape perception and memory. The ear gate, where sounds, words, and the energies of others soak into you. The heart gate, the center of affection, where all things are marked, loved, hated, or wounded. And God teaches you a holy discipline. You cannot control the world, but you can keep the gates of your soul. You remember the weariness opening social media and letting your eyes stick to what made you spiral. Songs that dragged your mind back to old stories. Conversations that swung your heart wide open to what God already told you to close. Now you see each time it was a covert attack. Not an enemy with a sword, but with images, words, and feelings. You no longer want to live led around. You want to live as a gatekeeper chosen. One, remember, your gaze is a current. Whatever you stare at long enough, you charge with your energy. Choose where your eyes come to rest, for there your soul will make its home. Your breathing slows. You place your hand over your eyes and pray, softly, Lord, purify my gaze. Let my eyes come to rest only where you are. A warm stream moves through your heart. It feels like dust that's clung to your mind for years is being washed away. From the inner watchtower, you look out at the world. It's still bright, alluring, full of color. But now you see what lies beneath fine, clever nets, and you are no longer an unthinking fish. You are an awakened observer, not dragged by your gaze, but directing it upward. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Colossians 3:2. The scripture comes alive. You don't read it with your mind, only you recognize it with a soul that's lived it. Setting your mind above isn't just looking at the sky, it's resetting the angle of your inner lens. You begin to practice when something shakes you. You look up not to escape, but to reset the focus. When a feeling pulls you down, you breathe slowly, bringing your soul back to stillness. When the soundscape grows chaotic, you place your hand over your chest and remind yourself, I listen with my spirit, not just my ears. This is the practice of stillness, the watchtower of the chosen. At first, it's hard. You will feel lonely, out of place, even bored at times. But slowly you discover stillness isn't emptiness. It's the place where the Spirit speaks clearest. Every time you choose to turn off a noise, you widen the space for heaven. And every time you restrain your gaze from what makes the flesh tremble, you offer God an act of worship. Remember, when the world boasts in indulgence, the chosen boast in discipline. When others chase the next new thrill, you return to heaven's ancient peace. The world may call you cold, God calls you awake. The world may say you're dry, God says you're pure. You are being set apart to see differently, hear differently, and love differently. One evening, as sunset pours into your room, you stand before the mirror. The face is the same, but your eyes are different. They no longer hunt, demand, or plead. They are quiet, clear, deep, like a still lake. And you hear the Lord speak plainly within, I have set you as the night watchman over your own soul. Each time you choose to look up, the sky within you widens a little more. You smile. No need to prove anything. No need to understand everything, because you know your gaze is fixed in the right place on heaven. From that day, you begin a daily practice of the silent watch. Just 10 minutes, no music, no talking, no thinking, only breathing and listening. Sometimes nothing seems to happen, but sometimes a small thought arrives clear, clean, like a golden thread. And you realize God has been speaking all along. He simply speaks softly. You write those words down and keep them in a private journal. Each line is a beam of light pulling you farther from the noise and closer to the river of heaven guiding you. When God closes a door in the spirit, the flesh owns no key to open it. Whenever emptiness tries to tug at you, you repeat this like the password of peace. It reminds you that what's been closed no longer belongs to you. You don't need to pry, to analyze, to drag it back. The door He closes is to protect you. The door He opens is to lift you higher. On that inner watchtower, you slowly learn to see with your spirit, not just your eyes. You spot God's fingerprints in small things, a child's laugh, a passing breeze, a gentle song in a corner cafe. You begin to feel a beauty that doesn't perform, the beauty of simplicity, of what endures. And in the quiet, you hear a deeper call. Don't look down anymore, child. Your light isn't found in what is enticing, but in what is pure. Look up, for from there the true light will come. You open your eyes. Daylight has fully arrived. The world keeps spinning. People laugh, love, and rush, but you're no longer swept away by the current. You live in the world, but your eyes belong to heaven. You no longer chase brief sparks because you have seen the everlasting light. And you know you are not merely living, you are keeping watch over your own soul. I have appointed you as a gatekeeper. Look up, for from this point on, everything you need will come from heaven. You breathe deep, close your eyes, and in that moment, everything around you fades, leaving only the inner light, still warm, endless. You are exactly where you're meant to be, on the inner watchtower of your own soul, where your gaze no longer looks out, but up, where you no longer look to find, you look to see Him. Part 3. Sacred Restraint Initiation, not suppression. Dusk settles. On the small wooden table in the corner, you set a candle. Its wavering flame reflects in your eyes and seems to retell the story your soul has always known, the story of consecration. Today is different. It is no longer a night afraid of silence, nor a morning training your gaze upward. Today you feel as if you're standing before an altar, not one carved of stone or wood, but the altar of your heart. You remember Elisha, how he burned his plow and slaughtered his oxen, leaving his old work to follow the call of God. That picture repeats in your mind as if heaven is whispering, it's time to burn your own plow. You look around, your plow isn't made of wood, it's made of habits, passions, old desires. What once made you feel alive has become a chain. It no longer feeds your soul, it only weighs you down. And in that moment you understand sacred restraint is not being stripped, it is choosing to offer. You breathe deep and whisper, Lord, today I burn my plow. A surge rises, painful yet light. Not the pain of losing, but the ache of being born. Your heart opens and tears begin to fall, not from sadness, but because for the first time you sense that God is trusting you. He does not select the weak to remove desire. He entrusts souls strong enough to endure refinement. The quiet in your body is the evidence of a holy assignment. Before Elisha became a prophet, he burned his plow, or Kings 19:21. The fire did more than destroy an old tool. It freed Elisha from an old self, and you are standing in that very hour. Your plow might be memories of someone you once loved, the habit of chasing sensation, the fixation on touch, or simply the need to be wanted. But today, all of it is placed on the altar. The flame doesn't come from outside. It rises from within the fire of prayer, burning brighter than ever. You kneel, hands trembling. Unscripted words begin to form on your lips. I will no longer give you what I can live without. Today I give you what I thought I could never live without. I give you my fire so you can turn it into light. The candle shivers, then steadies. The room grows warmer, wider. You don't see anyone, but you know a presence is here. This fire doesn't consume you, it transforms you. What used to be desire becomes the fire of intercession. You find yourself speaking with God more, not in religious jargon, but in heartbeat. You begin to stand in the gap for others, for those bound by temptation, for those hurting because they don't understand themselves. And as you intercede, the old energy is redirected. It no longer flows downward, but rises upward. Desire surrendered to God becomes wisdom. The sentence rings through you, and you begin to see the very energy that once scattered your focus is the raw material of vision. Like molten metal in the furnace forged. Well, it becomes a powerful tool. Left to itself, it is only kindling. You see the difference between suppression and surrender. Suppression is forcing down. The more you press, the harder it erupts. Surrender is laying it on the altar and letting God's fire change it. Only in surrender is desire redeemed into something holy. Then you hear him gentle within. You don't need to put the fire out. I only need you to change its direction from pleasure to prayer, from passion to vision, from emotion to discernment. Another tear falls. This time you don't wipe it away. You let it trace your cheek because you know it's the seal of trust. God is operating on your soul, and his hand is kinder than any medicine. After those minutes of prayer, your heart feels clearer. Images that once made you weak are now faded fragments. Instead of being dragged down, you begin to read the messages behind things. A person entering your life is no longer a temptation, but a test of discernment. A rising feeling is no longer a storm, but a signal. Pray now. You're living like a keeper of the flame, knowing when to breathe on it and when to let it rest. The chosen don't lose their fire. The chosen learn to keep it in the right place, and that makes you stronger than ever. You no longer fear the silence. You love it because in silence, God teaches you to steward holy energy. That energy has become a lamp within you, glowing, steady, enduring. It doesn't need to be seen. It doesn't need to be understood. It only needs to burn true because it belongs to heaven. You step to the window and look out. The sky has deepened to violet. The last light of evening fades, but inside another dawn is rising. You realize, since the old desires went quiet, you never lost your fire. The fire simply changed color. It is no longer the red of passion, but the gold of wisdom. The gentle voice returns deep within, chosen one. I have not taken your feelings away. I am teaching you to turn feeling into a sacred language. I have not taken your fire. I am showing you where it belongs. You nod, grateful. For the first time, you understand restraint is not punishment, it is privilege. Only chosen souls are trusted to carry fire without being burned. You bow your head, hand over your heart, and whisper, "Thank you for choosing me to keep this flame. Help me not to fear the silence, for in silence, you are shaping me to look like you." A warm breath seems to wrap around you. Not the room's air, but heaven touching earth. You feel small yet held, weak yet full of strength. And you know a new season is beginning, no longer fighting to resist desire, but living with holy fire in peace. You look back at the candle. The flame still burns, but it is different now. Steady, gentle, resolute. No longer erratic, no longer on the verge of dying out. Just like you, no longer swept up by the world's fire, because you have found the true flame, the fire of the Spirit. When you give me your fire, I give you back my light. And in that light, you smile, tears still on your cheeks. But they are the tears of the trusted. From this day forward, you don't fight against the fire within. You live with it because now that fire belongs to heaven. Part 4. Rewiring from energy to authority. The desert opens before you, a bare expanse, blazing amber under the last light of day. No sound but the wind, and your own heartbeat. Everything around you is stripped and simple. No shelter, no cover. You walk on feet touching hot sand, every grain whispering. Only in emptiness can energy be reborn. Far off in the shimmering distance, a bush burns aflame, yet unconsumed. You stop. The light is strange, not blinding, not frightening, just holy enough to make your heart tremble. Within the fire, you hear his voice. Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you stand is holy ground. The voice doesn't come from outside, it rises along your spine. A current runs through you and you shiver. It isn't pain, nor heat, it is brightness light. Gentle and so strong, it could make you weep. You realize God is rewiring you. These past days you've learned silence, learned to look up, learned to surrender. But now he's doing something deeper, turning energy into authority. What once poured outward through desire, emotion, reaction is being gathered in. It begins to move upward like a river of light along the center of your back. You are no longer ruled by energy. You are learning to rule it. You thought I took your life force away, he says, steady and low. But I am teaching you to master it. You close your eyes and see it, a luminous river flowing within, starting at the root, rising vertebra by vertebra. Each segment switches on like a lamp, long, dark. Those places once filled with fear, shame, and craving are now flooded with light and peace. It feels strange, as if your whole being has been plugged into heaven. Not aroused, awakened. You open your eyes and look around. The desert is the same, empty, solitary, yet you are more charged than ever. Not with energy that wants to spill out, but with quiet power like an underground river beneath the sand. You understand this is the still authority Scripture speaks of. When Moses met me at the burning bush, he reminds you, I did not give him force to strike. I gave him presence that made the world listen. True authority doesn't come from shouting, it comes from presence. It isn't who speaks the loudest, but who carries the most light. You feel it in your body. Your spine still hums, but now it is the hum of ascension energy, being lifted from root to crown, from body into spirit. You see it clearly. Former desire is becoming the current of prayer and discernment. With every deep breath, the light rises higher to the chest, and you sense love. To the throat, and your voice is healed. To the brow, and vision opens. At the crown, light spreads through every part of you. You tremble not with fear, but inside a living stream. When your energy belongs to me, he says, I make you a carrier of presence. Now you know. This is the rewiring, the holy recircuiting. God is not merely training you to refuse desire. He is upgrading your inner structure to hold heaven's voltage. Your body has become a new temple. No more leaks, no more loss, no more running on empty. Every feeling, every impulse, every old craving is collected, refined, and lifted. You remember the times you were drained, relationships that left you empty. You thought you were giving love, but you were leaking sacred energy because you hadn't learned how to keep it rightly. Now you're taught holding energy isn't selfish. It is preparation for greater service. Like a vessel that must be sealed to carry holy water, your soul must be mended where it once cracked. I am sealing your fractures, he whispers, so you can contain the glory I am about to pour out. A picture forms in your mind, an earthen jar, once broken, being repaired with liquid gold. Every crack becomes a line of light. You understand old wounds are becoming conduits for radiance. This is true power. You kneel, both hands pressed into the sand. The desert is hot, but there is no burn. Instead, you feel a current rising from the ground into your palms, up your spine, and lifting from your head like a pillar of fire. The shiver returns now, not to frighten, but to humble. You realize you are not controlling anything, you are allowing the light to pass through. And in that holy permission, you see it plainly. Real power is not noisy. It is quiet, and it changes the color of the room. You stand and take a few steps. Each footfall leaves a soft, shining print that fades into the unseen. Within you, the light keeps moving. No longer a split between body and spirit, both now unified under one living current. You are no longer one who begs for power. You are a place where power dwells. You will step into rooms and the atmosphere will shift, he says, not because you speak, but because you carry me. This is the authority of quiet, the kind that makes the world bow without knowing why. You stand there in the desert, eyes closed, wind brushing your face. All is silent, yet your inner world thunders with heaven's drum. The light keeps rising through spine, through chest, through throat, through eyes, and when it reaches the crown, a thin lightning flashes in your mind. You and heaven are now on the same circuit. A tear falls not of sorrow, but of knowing. All the lonely days, the silent nights, the hollow places, it was all the rewiring. God has not dismantled you. He has rebuilt your spiritual system so you no longer run on instinct, but on the Spirit. You hear the sound of footsteps in the sand. No one is there, but you know they are the prints of the one who walked with Moses. He speaks softly. You were once led by emotion. Now you will lead with presence. You once searched for words. Now you will carry the weight of silence. You once longed for human touch. Now I will touch others through you. Head bowed, tears in the sand, you whisper, teach me to keep this stream of light. Teach me to live with quiet authority. A gentle wind moves across the desert. The burning bush dims, no more flame, only light lingering in the air. You know what it means. The fire has moved from around you to within you. On the way back, your steps feel light as if you glide. Without a single spectacle, you sense the ground being cleansed where you pass. Others may not notice, but in the Spirit, every step you take widens a ring of light. You have become a bearer of holy voltage, not a beggar for power, but a source. You no longer need light from the outside, for my light is wired within you. You smile not with pride, but with peace. You don't need to prove strength. Strength now rests in your bones. You walk on, not in fear, but with the awareness that you are a dwelling place of heaven. The sand is still warm, the wind still blows, but within you a column of light stands firm. No eye may see it, yet all of creation knows a carrier of silent authority has been born. You place your hand over your heart, feeling the beat, slow, steady, bright. And in the last breath of sunset, you hear his voice like wind across the dunes. I have rewired you. Keep the current flowing. From this moment on, you will not merely live, you will be present. Part 5. Shield and wilderness. Put on the armor of light. Night falls like a heavy velvet curtain. Outside, the wind cuts past the rocks, carrying the whisper of the wild. Inside the tent, a small oil lamp throws trembling lines across the canvas like the quiet breath of a soul. You sit still, fingers interlaced, feeling the hush descend. No one beside you. No messages, no calls, no familiar sounds. Only absolute silence, the kind that months ago made you tremble. But now silence isn't frightening. It has become a faithful friend, the only companion holy enough to sit with you through the night. Out there, doors have closed. Doors to relationships that no longer fit. Doors to emotions that once dropped you to your knees. Doors to memories that were beautiful, but poisonous. You hear a soft echo within. Do not try to reopen the doors I have closed. I did not close them to punish you, but to protect you. The words make you bow your head. A tear falls not from sorrow, but from the relief of being kept. You were not abandoned. You were hidden like David in the cave, like Esther in her preparation, like Jesus in the wilderness. You are in the wilderness season not to die, but to be designed. You look up. The oil flame still burns small but unwavering, and in that light you see fine unseen threads lifting off you, drifting away like pale smoke. These are soul ties, bonds you mistook for love, but were only tangled currents of energy. Every person you clung to, every emotion you gripped, left a subtle mark on your soul, and now one by one God is cutting them. You close your eyes and the image sharpens, gossamer threads, silver thin, stretching from your heart. In every direction, faces, voices, memories, eyes. A white light descends and passes over each strand until they dissolve like dust in sunlight. Each time I sever a cord, it is not to make you lose someone, but to help you regain yourself. You break down and weep. Warm, salty light tears. They fall into your hands and catch the lamplight like diamonds being washed clean. When the final cord vanishes, a vast space opens in your chest, so open you almost hear the wind pass through your soul. But instead of fear, a deep stillness settles. You know when God clears, He also fills. Outside the tent, the desert cools. The sky is strewn with stars. Each star glows like a promise, quiet, steady, needing no proof. You step out, look up, and in that starlight you hear Him. I have cleansed you from every false attachment, so you can put on the armor of light. From now on, you are not only protected, you become a light for others. You stand in the desert with your arms open. A gentle radiance gathers around your body, warm but not burning. It isn't physical light, it's something you feel more than see. You sense every part of you, head, chest, hands, feet, being clothed with a holy frequency. This is your armor, God says. Not forged of metal, but woven of light. It does not merely deflect attack, it transforms it. You breathe in, and the light enters with your breath. You breathe out, and it widens, spilling into the open space. Each breath becomes a wave of brightness, traveling outward, reaching souls who have lost their way. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to do anything. Your presence has become the prayer. Put on the armor of light. Romans 13:12. You repeat it within, and the words seem to sink into your very cells. The light isn't only around you, it is in you. You no longer chase love to feel alive because you have become life shining. A stronger wind passes, carrying the scent of sand, of fire, and of something new. You smile not from giddiness, but because you know you've passed through a refining. You no longer need to be touched to know you exist. No need for anyone's confirmation, no need for anyone to hold you. You have become the very thing you were searching for. I have taught you to love without needing to be loved, back to live without applause, to shine without needing to be seen. As you walk through the desert, each step seems to leave a faint trail of light on the sand. No darkness can touch you now because the light you carry does not depend on the sun. You hear His voice, gentle yet regal. You once begged me to protect you. Now you will be a shield for others. You once longed for a hand to hold. Now your hands will carry my healing current. You once searched for light. Now you are the light. You stop and lift your eyes. The stars no longer feel far away. They look like reflections shining out from within you. The desert is no longer emptiness. It has become a sanctuary. Wherever your soul stands still, that ground turns holy. You glance back at the tent, once a place of loneliness, now a fortress of the Spirit. You know the season of hiddenness is complete, and now He calls you to carry this light outward. When you step out, remember, silence is your armor, peace is your sword, and love that does not demand is your crown. You bow hand over your heart and whisper, Lord, I no longer need to be touched to know I'm alive. You have touched me, and that touch will carry me all my days. A bright glow rises and breaks into 1,000 tiny sparks circling you like stardust. There is no music, yet your soul hears a heavenly hymn. You know you are clothed in the armor of light. No more fear, no more doubt. Only a quiet certainty: I am a temple, I am light, I am chosen. Night still drapes the land, but darkness holds no power. You have become heaven's lamp set in the desert of humankind. With every step you take, the ground will know someone is passing. With every word you speak, the wind will know it carries heaven's breath. And in the calm radiance you hear him one last time tonight. You were not left in the wilderness. I led you there to teach you to shine without anyone lighting you. Now go, for wherever you stand, I will be present. You smile, step out of the tent, and the light within you climbs the sky brighter than any star. The heavens turn to honey. First light pours over the horizon, slipping through the ridges and spilling across the sands. Everything glows, no drama, no noise, just light returning to where it belongs. You stand in the thin mist, hands at rest. No more begging, no more chasing, only presence. A fullness, a stillness, and the certainty that everything has begun again. The music lowers, soft light fills the air. You close your eyes, and for a moment there is only breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 slow, warm breaths, each one a confirmation: I am here. I am alive. I am chosen. Then the voice light as wind, piercing as truth: chosen one. This silence is not absence, it is ordination. I have laid my hand upon you, and in quiet I have given you authority. You are not forgotten, you are chosen, and this silence is your commissioning. A beam of light rests where you stand, not harsh, not blinding, just bright enough to set your heart trembling. You feel it move from crown to heart and out through your whole being, as if God were signing his name across your soul. Sealed, stamped, entrusted. You whisper within, Lord, I receive. I receive your peace. I receive the assignment you wrote for me before the world began. You don't need to know where the road will lead, only that you will walk it with me. A soft wind skims the sand. You open your eyes, the sun is up, and light lies everywhere. There is no line between earth and sky, only light joining light. You draw a long breath, a quiet smile on your lips. This is not an ending, this is ascending. You are not forgotten, you are chosen. This silence is your commissioning. The final breath of hush becomes a blessing. And then the voice, no longer distant, but sounding like your own heart, speaking to itself. Go with light in your chest, with peace in your eyes, and with the quiet power of the one who has been chosen. If this word touched your soul, if you felt heaven's call inside the silence, leave a simple reply to the Father, Amen, or I received. Subscribe so you won't miss the next message, and share this with another chosen one today, because someone may be waiting for the very light you just received. The light has been given. Now go and live as a bearer of light.